made treasurer. And then 99, I was made deputy managing director. And 2000, I was made managing director. So 10 years, and then I was given the hot job.
In 2000, you were made managing director, and something quite significant happened.
Not in 2000. In 2000, what happened of significance was I turned 38 years old. I was born in 1962. So.
There was an extraordinary general meeting that was held, telecast live on television. You were to be removed as the then managing director.
That was 2008. It was 5th June 2008.
What happened?
At the time, I had gone to the annual general meeting earlier on in the year, I think in April, or thereabouts, to increase the stated capital of the bank from what it was then, I don't remember the figure, but to $200 million US, which basically had been arranged, you know. So raising the money wasn't the problem, but securing the support of shareholders was the problem, was what was going to be a challenge. And well, you know, in our part of the world, or in what we do, it's a very unforgiving world, and promises are broken, minds can be changed overnight. I don't want to go to the detail of it. Maybe when I write my memoirs, I'll go into the detail. Suffice it to say that the resolution was shut down at the AGM. So subsequently, a shareholder called an EGM and basically to ask for me to be fired for being ambitious and reckless. Long story short, that corporate action failed. There was a poll. What it means is that there was a vote. We went to the polls, like we vote for the president, and luckily, the majority of shareholders thought that I must keep my job.
You were positively ambitious.
Ambition is good, greed is bad.
So you haven't regretted at all, have you?
At all. Like, can you imagine if you had done that 11 years ago? We wouldn't be part of what went on last year about trying to get to 400 million CDs. Because that was $200 million. You know.
How on earth did you not find yourself into trouble? How on earth could you have run a bank for so long and not been in the bad books of the central bank as other banks did? How on earth could you have been so prim and proper with your books?
Like I said, I mean, I was brought up by a very disciplined father. So up until the age of 10, your formative years, he would not spare the rod if you misbehaved. So you learned how to behave yourself at all times.
It was not because Frank Edu was politically connected or had so much influence and so couldn't be touched?
I don't think I have any influence at all. I have no foot in any party. I hold no party card. You know, I exercise my franchise, I vote, but I don't play a political game.
Now, you didn't seem to have hassled at all in raising that 400 million stated capital.
That is another story. But, I mean, we had the money. We didn't have to go to external sources. We just had to transfer from income surplus to stated capital for as long as we're making profits. That's what we did.
Would you call yourself a businessman, a CEO, an entrepreneur? What would you call yourself?
I like to call myself a teacher. You know, my colleagues call me Teacher Edu.
Teacher Edu.
That's what they call me.
Okay.
Some of them call me that because when in a meeting, in a presentation, basically you have to. Don't forget, my first job when I came out of school was a TA. So I was a TA at Legon for 2 years, and I wanted to be a lecturer, but I had a difference of opinion with my head of department, and instantaneously wrote a one-liner and resigned, and never went back. So
you get angry quickly?
No, I don't. The guy gave me a reference that I was a third-class student. when I was a third class student.
How is that possible?
Because that is what he chose to do.
What's wrong with being a third class student?
Because I wasn't a third class student.
What student were you?
I got an upper. I missed the first, but
And you said you were a third class student?
Yeah. So, I was going to do my master's, and the forms come, and the forms come from the school. It was McGill University, which is a very good school in Canada, and it's top 5%, top 10, top 15, etc. And for everything apart from the ability to read, write, and understand English, he put me in the top 15, which basically said you're a third class student. But then at the bottom he said, but the student managed an upper at the end of the year. So I read it, I tore it up, I resigned. And that was it. I didn't go back.
What's your definition of leadership?
I don't know. I haven't read any of those leadership books, but maybe you should ask my colleagues. I haven't read any leadership book. I think that for me, you got to treat people right. You have to be fair to your colleagues and treat them right and respect them. And I think once you do that, they will accept you as a leader. And it's not out of fear, but it's out of the fact that they respect the position you hold and they respect you as a person. And then the rest becomes quite easy.
Right. You're still watching Time with the Captains, your monthly business mentorship program live here on TV3. Our guest for the month of May is Mr. Frank Eddie Jr., who is the managing director and a director at Cal Bank Limited. I've got students who constitute our audience for the night. We've got students from the University of Ghana Business School, from the Ghana Institute of Journalism, as well as students from GH Media School. If you've got any questions, kindly raise your hands, and then I would obviously get you to ask your question. Who's got the first question? You mention your name and where you're coming from, and you ask your question. Pass the microphone over to her.
A final year student at GH Media School. And Mr. Frank, my question is, what do you make of the current...
Did you say Mr. Frank?
Mr. Edu.
You can either call me Frank or you call me Mr. Edu, but you can't say Mr. Frank.
Mr. Edu, please, what do you make of the current banking sector reforms? The drastic reduction in commercial banks from 36 to 23.
You want to take that, or we take a next question? Okay, just take a response.
You want me to take it?
Yeah, take it.
There is no optimum number for banks in the economy. Okay, so South Africa has maybe now 5. The US, people don't know, but they have about 3,000 banks. There are banks which serve communities, basically just serve only roads, And so the number of banks is not the issue for me. The issue is whether it's a solid enough banking sector. So you can have 3 banks, and the banks will be well capitalized and strong enough to serve the total needs of the economy. And you could have 35 banks, and they would not do that. They won't be able to do that. Now, this governor elected to consolidate banks and reduce the number to make them stronger and therefore also recapitalize the banks. And I think any move like that under all circumstances is good. Because banks are, the strength of banks determined by the capital that they hold. And that capital can disappear very, very quickly. So even the reforms as I see them, the reduction in the numbers